I'm Beck Smith and this is Evangee Station near Stonehenge. To be honest, I am still trying to sink in and let it be real. I'm blown away because from the get-go, I thought Duke and I were just the ring-ins, and obviously the other dogs, they're very well, trained and stuff like that, and they have the finer qualities, where Duke and I are very much just mulga people and rough around the edges, but he's a dog that has a big heart and he's all for me, so couldn't be more happier. So Duke is my impulse buy, and probably the best impulse buy to date, especially in the dog world. And stupidly got on Facebook Marketplace and there was Duke. So he was a dog, and usually I only have females, so that was first cross, but the big tick was that he was of Lithgow bloodlines, and that is a bloodline that it heavily dominated my dad's working dogs and has influenced what I look for in a Border Collie working dog. When I'm out mustering, I often can't see very far out into the scrub, so I've just got to send Duke in and rely on him to do all the thinking and to bring the stock out to me. So you need a dog that's tough, that can go the distance, and we've got hard cattle, so you've got to have a dog that is pretty big and bold and brave to put the cattle back in their place and make them respect him and go where he wants them to go, because there's really no room for error in the mulga blocks, really. So Evangee is southwest of Longreach in Western Queensland, so I'm about 2 hours away. So it's 130,000 acres. We are on the cusp of the famous Channel Country in Western Queensland, so we do have a little bit of the Thompson River flows through Evangee, but yeah, predominantly it's rocks and mulga trees. So with the floods, we had 20 inches of rain in 7 days, so that's 2 years worth of rain in a week, and 70% of my place was inundated with water at the peak of the floods. So with the wind, that was my little light at the end of the tunnel. It was a nice distraction. It was a positive, it was something that I was chipping away at each day while I was doing the flood recovery, which, is a pretty downer type of situation to be in. But yeah, the Cobber challenge was a nice little positive to be concentrating on. I am so proud. I think the first lady to win it with a Border Collie, she actually made a comment on my page when she had seen that I was selected. Duke and I were selected, sorry, not just me, but Duke, the star. And she was like, I hope to see another female handler and a Border Collie win. And I was like, oh, don't put that expectation on me, because, I don't want to fail. And now that I have, it's great because, women, we've had to work twice as hard because this is very much male-dominated industry. So no, it's so bloody good, I reckon. The first thing was to get into the habit of actually remembering to put a collar on my dog, because there was a couple of times I'd let him out and went, oh bugger, I got to go and put the collar on him. So that was the first thing. So I just put the collar on Duke, set him up, and then honestly we just went about our normal day-to-day life. Duke, it took him a couple of days to get used to wearing a collar because it is a bit different. Not that it's bulky or anything, but it's just different. So, and honestly, you just don't even think about it. Towards the end, it was just automatic. Collar on, dog out, let's go. And yeah, that was it. It was actually good to see just how many kilometres your dog does clock up, because obviously you can see what you've driven in the buggy, but you don't know what your dog's doing. It's not a job, we do it because we love it, and it's not 9 to 5. There's no clock on, no clock off, really. So if something needs to be done at 1 o'clock in the morning, guess what? You're out there doing it. And there's been times when stuff's gone wrong, cattle have got out of paddocks, and Duke's been out there with me, and you just got to do what you got to do. It's not a very forgiving lifestyle, and it's definitely not a McLeod's daughter. So if you ever see McLeod's daughters, it's a complete opposite to that, and that's probably the best way to sum it up. Dogs are up here. You can have the best employee ever, and a good dog is going to trump him every day of the week. One working dog is equivalent to about 3 good employees, because they just go all the time. They don't answer back. They're always happy to see you. For myself, living on my own, I definitely wouldn't be able to do half the things that I do. Like, for example, with Duke, the end of last year when it was drought and I had a unwell bull and I had to bring him into home, which it was only about 20 kilometres and it should have only taken a few hours in a straight line, but because of the thick scrub, for 8 hours Duke was with me, and I had to, obviously I couldn't just go on a straight line, I'd have to detour around, pick a path through all the thick scrub, and Duke stuck with the bull, and then if I couldn't find them, Duke would come back to me and then lead me back to the bull. So I mean, you can't complain about that. So with the winnings, I'm planning, hopefully, to import either a pup or potentially semen from Border Collie lines in the States, because I really like those dogs over there. They're a little bit harder, and I think they'd be great for the country that I'm in out here. Throw your hat in the ring, because I thought Duke and I were just the ring-ins and we had no hope in hell, and look at us, we've come out on top. But just go in there and you know, it's good to portray your dogs and how much hard work that they do put in, and you know, it shines a bit of limelight on them like they deserve.